Town manager's report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As you may have noticed, we've completed a significant media upgrade here in the community room. With funding from previously approved capital PEG funding, we've upgraded the audio system. This phase of the work included new wireless microphones, which are in front of you this evening, which we believe will address the crackling issue that we sometimes had with the old wired system, as well as the installation of new ceiling-mounted speakers. You may remember we used to rely on these old school ones that are mounted in the wall, which did not really deliver the sound. Additionally, the new software allows this room to be fully remote capable. We're still tweaking some of the settings, so it's not live just yet, but that will eliminate the need for us to set up an owl anytime we want to have a remote meeting. It will directly feed in the video feed from these cameras to the online meeting platform like Google Meets, and it will bring back into the room any audio or video from whoever is remote. So a lot of big upgrades there. And then finally, as you can see behind the board, we've installed 2 brand new TVs which will broadcast the same meeting material that you're used to seeing on the projector. The projector works great for the select board's viewing, but oftentimes was hard to view from the audience. The final phase of this project will commence in the next few weeks, and we'll see audio and visual upgrades in meeting room 1, which also doubles as the kitchen here. A big thank you to Roni for coordinating this work. As the board is aware, last week the Tyngsborough Police Department, with support from more than a dozen other law enforcement agencies from across the Commonwealth, handled a missing person search off Wilson Way. I wanted to take a minute to share our appreciation to the Tyngsborough Police Department personnel under the leadership of Chief Woods, as well as the countless other officers from agencies as far away as Natick who responded to help. Thank you to resources from the Massachusetts State Police, Massachusetts Environmental Police, NEMLEC, the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office, and canine officers from across the region. The search included drones, foot patrols, aerial searches, ATVs, bicycle patrols, canines, as well as dive teams. The Tyngsborough Fire Department and the Massachusetts Division of Fire Services also staged at the scene to provide support and additional resources. Assistant Town Manager Walsh and I visited the command center and are incredibly appreciative of the work of everyone involved. I'm happy to share that while a bulk of the search was called off early that evening, we were able to locate the missing individual the following morning. He was found safe. There was a lot of comments about this, so just a reminder, this was a search for a missing, endangered person. There was never any risk to the community, and that's why we didn't lock down schools or anything of that nature. A big shout out to our Rec Director, Allison Page, and the Recreation Committee, as well as the dozens of volunteers who made the 2025 Party by the Bridge a tremendous success. I spent the morning at the gate welcoming guests with Ms. Coughlin, and the spirits were high, the food was good, and the weather was perfect. I am amazed at the work that goes into planning this huge event and the positive impact that it has on our community. We are entering week 4 of the 2nd annual Civic Leadership Academy. We have 10 residents enrolled this year, and so far they've learned about general administration, information technology, media, DPW, and the fire department. This week they'll meet with the Tyngsborough Public Schools and get a tour of the new middle school. Again, thanks to Roni for coordinating and for all the departments for participating. They've all dove headfirst into this. They've got very interactive presentations, and so far the feedback from our participants has been very positive. Earlier today, I participated in a demonstration with Republic Services for a new feature that they're rolling out in Tyngsborough called Track My Truck. This new program will allow residents to follow along the trash pickup and see when the route is starting, when the route is complete, and if there are delays. It will also send alerts if service cannot be completed for any reason, whether it's because your barrel wasn't on the curb, it was overflowing, or whatever the reason is. The program will also provide real-time info about the pickup schedule for both trash and recycling. They're still ironing out some of the bugs, but you can see the platform by going to republicservices.com and clicking the Track My Truck. There are some kinks as you scroll through it, but they're working on fixing those. So we'll do a little bit more advertising once they fix that, but for now I just wanted to note that it is an option. And a reminder that September is the American Library Association's Library Card Sign-Up Month. You can celebrate here at the Tyngsborough Public Library by visiting them in person or by visiting tinglib.org/card to get yours today. With a library card, you can do much more than just check out books. You can borrow museum passes, musical instruments, and tools. You can also attend engaging programming like book clubs, lectures, and arts and crafts. Whether you're a student, job seeker, entrepreneur, or lifelong learner, a library card is a smart way to stay connected with your community. I get $5 from the library every time I read there.
You get one
advertisement
free rental of a book.
All right, on a staffing front, the town of Chelmsford is currently seeking to hire a full-time animal control officer. As you might know, the town of Tyngsborough has benefited from an intermunicipal agreement for 4 years now that sees Tyngsborough pay for half of the ACO's base salary, while Chelmsford pays for the remainder, as well as equipment, training, and personnel benefits. The current ACO has accepted a position as an ACO in Carlisle, and so Chelmsford is currently seeking to fill that position. Fortunately, Officer CNC is still serving in that role while the search for his replacement is ongoing. Last week, we made a conditional offer to a new full-time dispatcher. The individual would come to us from a different 911 call center with years of dispatch experience in settings as large as Lowell and in smaller communities. With my approval, we've transitioned this part-time communications specialist position into a full-time one to reduce the yearly overtime expenses that we've been seeing. As this board is incredibly familiar, in analyzing prior trends, we've overspent the overtime budget, I think, every year for at least the last 5 years. We know of several planned FML leave situations and departures early next year. So it is our belief, after running a bunch of scenarios, that by offsetting the cost using the existing untouched budget for a part-time person and reducing what we expect to spend on overtime, that it will be at least budget neutral. Right now, we operate with 7 full-time communication specialists, and so anytime there's an absence, it requires that we fill that shift with overtime. So you can imagine that particularly in the summer months, that becomes incredibly challenging. The other positive is that if we were to hire a part-time dispatcher, generally you don't get somebody who's already a certified dispatcher, so you end up spending even more money on overtime training them. This individual will require a modified onboarding process, but is otherwise a plug-and-play candidate. The demolition of 180 Lakeview Ave is slightly behind schedule due to delays getting National Grid to cap the gas line. I don't expect that this will cause significant delays, but we're probably 2 or 3 weeks behind at this point. I will provide an update once National Grid has cleared us to cap the gas line. I'm excited to share that we're working with the Middlesex 3 Coalition to plan a What's Happening in Tyngsborough meeting for November or December of this year. For those who aren't familiar, the Middlesex 3 Coalition is an economic development group that focuses on advancing economic development along the Route 3 corridor. Tyngsborough has been a member of Middlesex 3 for at least 10 years. The event will be hosted at the 440 Plaza by Sam Park and will feature a presentation by his company on the updates to that plaza. We'll also invite the developers at 93 Kendall Road, and we'll have a broad conversation about things that are going well here in Tyngsborough and our surrounding communities. Once we finalize a date, I'll be sure to let the board know so you can participate if you're able. Last week, we rejected the bids on the 2025 Roads Phase 2 project, which came in higher than we budgeted. Our engineering division has spent the last week reworking the bid and modifying the scope, and I anticipate that we'll release a revised IFB this week so that an award can be made before the season ends. And then just a few reminders on upcoming events. The Council on Aging is excited to announce that Evening Bingo is back. Join us on Wednesday, September 10th for bingo at the Center for Active Living. Doors open at 5:30 p.m. and the game starts promptly at 6:30. The Fall Health and Safety Fair will take place on Saturday, September 27th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Tyngsborough Elementary School. The annual Friends of the Tyngsborough Public Library book sale will take place on October 4th, 2025 from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. right here in the community room. You can donate books to the book sale at the library through October 2nd. And the Tyngsborough Public Library is planning an oral history day on Saturday, February 21st, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That'll be at the library, and the purpose is to collect oral histories related to the Winslow School. They'll be releasing more details in the coming months, but save the date. This project was funded by the Community Preservation Committee and town meeting at the last fall town meeting.
The Opioid Task Force is hosting the Tyngsborough Light the Night Recovery and Remembrance Vigil on Wednesday, September 17th next week at 6 p.m. at Old Town Hall. The event will honor those we've lost in the battle with substance abuse, support those that are in recovery, and connect folks with others that are on the path to healing. The event is open to all, will feature music, guest speakers, and much more next week. Thank you.
We'll open up the board for questions. Select-Person Cohen.
No questions.
Select-Person Gilfus.
Thank you for the report. Lots of things there. So much so that it was like twice the length of the original draft that I read in preparation for this meeting. So much happening, very dynamic. Thank you for your hard work.
Select-Person Eldridge.
One question. So the rejected bids for the road phase 2 project, we're hoping that there's no impact on those items. Can you remind folks which roads are?
Yes, this is the full depth reclamation project for 2025, which is Bridget, Elm, Lincoln, that whole area over there. It wasn't so dramatically out of the budget that we don't think we'll still be able to complete the scope. What the engineering division has done is kind of retweaked some of the specifications, particularly around sidewalks. If we can, we try to replace the curbing, for instance, on a project. If we don't need to, which is what we've looked at here, we can reduce it, which generally saves some expenses.
Thank you for that clarification. The only other comment on the missing person, the police department and multiple police departments. Just to remind folks, that same day was the incident in Lowell, which turned out to be an airsoft gun, but the police from all over were doing a lot of duty in a very short period of time. I know it was very stressful. I know you were coordinating those, so I thought both the actions taken and the community. I know residents expect communication right away on some of these things, but a lot of it is it's unfolding, and I think they did a good job. I thought the police and others did a really good job of assessing the situation and not overreacting and communicating at an appropriate time. So kudos to those folks for in a very, very difficult situation.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
And I would just make one minor addendum to your report, Colin, and that is, for the library book sale, in addition to receiving donations of books, they can certainly use help sorting the books prior to the sale. So anyone who's interested or willing to volunteer at the library to help get ready for that book sale, they would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.